Welcome to TESOLbytes, where we serve you GIS in small bytes. Today we'll be covering ArcGIS Portal, Configuring Operations Dashboard, Part 2. In this video, I will pick up where we left off in the previous video, ArcGIS Portal, Configuring Operations Dashboard, Part 1. Here we will add a new indicator element to our dashboard, as well as two line graphs to show the past week and year-to-date trends in the traffic data. I'll start off by adding an additional count indicator element, where I'll keep a running count of all loose livestock traffic incidents as they occur. We'll add the indicator element by going to the plus sign and selecting Indicator from the drop-down. I will select our traffic data and continue on to the configuration page. To display the desired count, I will go to Filter, select Issue Reported is equal to, and then I will select Loose Livestock. I'll continue to the next tab, Indicator, to fill out some text to describe this number, like so. Now I'm ready to add this element to our dashboard. I'd like to add this indicator to the bottom right. To do that, I'll go up and select Drag Item and drag it over to where it hovers over the existing pane, and then I'll select this option to dock as a row below the pie chart. Next, I'd like to add a line graph to show the traffic trend for the last week. I'll do that by clicking Add a New Element and select Serial Chart from the menu. I'll be configuring this with our traffic data, so I'll select it. To show the trends for the last week, I'll need to add some filters. To do that, I'll click on Filter and select our published date, and then is this week. I'll add an additional clause using the OR option and select our published date, and is last week. I'll keep the categories from as grouped values and our category fields to be this published date. You'll notice by default a histogram is created. To configure this to be the line graph that we'd like, we'll go to Series and select under Type to be Line. I can also adjust the color by coming down here and clicking and selecting one I'd like. Next, I need to give this graph a title. I'll do this by going to General and giving this a title, like so. Finally, I like to configure this graph to allow when users click on one of these days to filter the map. To do this, I'll go to this Actions tab and select under When Selection Changes to filter our traffic data. We also have a pie chart that I'd like to adjust when a user selects a day to display traffic incident types for that day. We'll do this by selecting this filter, Add Additional Target, to be that pie chart. And now both of these will be filtered when a user clicks on one or more of these points. And now I'm ready to add it to our dashboard. I'd like to add this graph to the bottom of the map without obscuring the previous pane that we built earlier. To do this, I'll go over to Drag Item and drag it until I can hover over one of these options to dock as a row below. You'll notice that it doesn't obscure the right pane, and this is exactly what I want. So I'll release and resize. Next, I'd like to add another line graph showing by month the traffic trends for year to date. I'll add an additional element, and it will be our serial chart again, configured with our traffic data, and we'll add a filter for this year, like so. I'll keep the categories from as grouped values, and the categories field will be our published date. And you'll notice we'll get a histogram by day. We can adjust this by adjusting the minimum period to be month. And now we have a histogram of the traffic incidents for year to date, but I'd like this to be a line graph as well. We'll go to Series and choose Line Graph, and we'll also adjust the color. We'll go to the General tab and give this chart a name, and finally we'll configure this graph to allow users to interact like we did previously by going to Actions and selecting what will be filtered, like so. Now that I have the graph created, I'm ready to add it to the dashboard, and what I'd like is to have these two graphs to be stacked on one another. To do that, I'll come over to this new one and click Drag Item and position it until I have the option to stack the items, and I'll go ahead and release. And now I have my two graphs denoted by two tabs. I can give each one of these a name so we can distinguish between the two. like so. Now when a user clicks on one of these, you'll notice that our map will be filtered, as well as our pie chart. This shows all the traffic incidents for July so far, and the types of incidents that have occurred in that month. To recap, we continue building our dashboard by adding additional elements that tally the traffic incident type, as well as configured line graphs showing traffic trends. I think this is a great stopping point. Be sure to check out the next video in the Operations Dashboard series, where we will continue to build out and finally complete this dashboard. This has been TESOLbytes, where we serve you GIS in small bytes. Thank you for watching, and please be sure to visit us at www.tesolations.us. Also subscribe and ring that bell